There's a lady there.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, Sarah. I'd just like to say I'm Jewish. I do believe in God, but I don't think that God it discriminates against atheists because He made you guys for a reason. Then number two, I would like to address the you bring up the blitz, circuitously or obliquely. I would like to ask, first of all, as an atheist who speaks on religion regularly, weekly, do you find that that's a substitute for ministry? Your family is very strong in ministry. And number two, if you did not have your ministry, what would you have a passion for that kept you going? And what would you do as a vocation?
Is this for me? Because
I think so. You
This is
first.
for you and for you.
I was going to say I didn't bring up the blitz at all.
You,
So
I know that your father was a Presbyterian minister, yes?
Not a minister, no.
He was, but you were.
He was a congregant. But,
Okay, I didn't know it.
Sure.
There was your Wikipedia is incorrect.
yeah, not for the first time.
Yes.
the short version is I'd have a passion for all the same things that I have a passion for, as far as I can tell. I mean, obviously I can't rewind the clock and remove my religious upbringing and everything else. I'd probably have a passion for much the same things I do, for learning and educating and magic, and my hobbies. But the values that I have, the interesting thing for me was when I found my way out of the religious beliefs, I had to take an inventory of my entire life and why I believed what I believed. Hey, if previously killing people was wrong because God said so, well, does that mean I can kill people? It turns out, really easy answer, no. And there are good reasons. I'd rather not die, you'd rather not die. It's probably in our best interest to make sure we discourage that sort of thing. So you can have completely pragmatic, even selfish reasons to reach those conclusions. So what about psychopaths? Well, I mean, you don't get to point to the exception. They're not going to have a reason whether there's a God or not. The better question is, why did God make psychopaths? But I would...
That's a question for psychology, whether he did or not.
Well, so anyway, I would have a passion for much of the same things. My passion isn't let me destroy religion across the world. It is to... And because I'm not saying there is no God and religions are wrong, I'm saying I'm not convinced there is a God, and every time throughout history somebody's tried to argue for one, it's been logically fallacious and without evidential support.
Personal faith without judgment is not support?
I'm sorry?
Personal faith without judgment of others is not support?
Personal faith without judgment of...
The person who just asked the question about religion dying out, it reminds me an awful lot of Oprah's idea about, a bunch of old white people have to die out before the racism is gone. It's a bit of a eugenic solution.
No, it's not eugenics. I'm just saying that we're going to have to wait. I'm saying it's going to take time, that there are some people who... But
what if it never dies because people like me teach our children?
Well, it may never die. Matter of fact, I don't think that it will die. I think it'll just be diminished to the point where it's no more relevant than flat earthers. But
I mean, maybe I could just chip in to say that I don't spend all my time arguing about religion or telling people to drop their faith or anything like that.
True.
But, I mean, you asked what else one would do, and I, at any rate, feel rather resentful about this. Not towards you, but I feel rather resentful about the amount of time I have to spend on this. Having been brought up in the Christian tradition, and I mean, I don't hate it, I don't loathe it, far from it. But I resent the fact that, having, broadly speaking, managed to see the church's role in society reduced to the position which I think it should be in, I feel resentful that now, in the 21st century, I have to spend so much time reading hadith, and so on. And I think of all the things I would do, and it answers your question. What I would be doing is doing what I did from the beginning, before this all diverted me, which is to be concentrating on my first love, which was literature and art, and writing about that. And the only reason I don't get so much time to do that is because I don't think that the conditions for that to continue to be done are satisfactorily safe at the moment.
So you believe
But the moment
that Hashem and Allah are the same thing?
I believe in what?
Do you believe that Hashem and Allah are the same God? Because you just talked about hadith and not about, say, Talmud.
Well, no, because, I mean, I can assure you, madam, that if people were chopping off people's heads in my country and citing the Talmud, I'd be reading a lot more of the Talmud and of Jewish law, and I'd be engaging myself far more in that. It's just that, you know, in the last year, it's been multiple times that people have, for instance, walked across London Bridge slashing at women's throats, shouting, "This is for Allah." So I find myself unable to spend as much time on poetry as I'd like. But, you know, it's a frustration I have, which I hope to get over someday. So when you start being able to read essays from me on literature rather more, you'll know the world's safe.
Not all believers, hashtag.
Do we have time for one more?
Actually, that has to be the last question, they're telling me. So thank you, and thank everybody else. Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight.
Thank you. That was a great pleasure. Thank you, man.
Thank you very much.
That was a great pleasure.
Round of applause for Douglas and Pangburn Philosophy for putting this on. We'll see you out there somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
I want to talk about a remarkable phenomenon that is going on in Asia and Africa, namely the large-scale conversion of Muslims to Christianity. There was a complaint by a guy on Al Jazeera who said that by his count, 6 million Muslims are converting to Christianity each year.
Christians have been saying two things. Number one, God is eternal. Eternal meaning not living forever on and on and on. Eternal in the sense of outside of time. And this concept of eternity, which seemed from a scientific point of view incoherent, now makes complete sense. If God is outside the universe, He's outside of time.
Far from being unable to escape God, there is a very real contingent of non-believers, and I would count myself among their number, who are unable by any means to discover Him, who seek and do not find, who knock and receive, as it were, no answer. I think it would be great if God existed. I really do. I would absolutely love to escape death. I would relish being the recipient of unconditional love. Less selfishly, I would love to be able to worship that which deserves to be worshipped. I just don't think it's true. Now, try as I might, look where I can, I find no response, no hint, nothing.